There's a certain kind of calm some people carry that convinces everyone around them that they've reached a level of emotional mastery. It's not just a quiet demeanor. It's a calm that suggests maturity, spiritual alignment, and a grounding presence. For years, this calm was the hallmark of Common's public persona. When he spoke about self-improvement, it didn't come across as superficial or fleeting. His words weren't empty public relations fluff. Instead, they carried intention. Talked about growth, reflection, and therapy, describing a journey of emotional awareness and preparation not just for himself, but for his future partner. Becoming a husband, he claimed, wasn't about a fleeting moment of passion. It was about showing up fully, consistently, and meaningfully, a lifelong dream. He was willing to prepare for diligently.com and often spoke about guidance he received from people he deeply respected, including Michelle Obama. Her presence in his narrative wasn't coincidental. She represented wisdom, discipline, and a commitment to long-term partnership. Their conversations weren't about perfection, they were about realism. She emphasized that nobody arrives flawless, and no, relationship survives without compromise. What mattered most, she explained, wasn't finding a partner without flaws, but someone whose values aligned with your own. Audiences resonated with this advice. It sounded healthy, balanced, and mature. Jennifer Hudson, with her strength accomplishments and emotional resilience, appeared to embody exactly what Common described. Their union seemed to symbolize a rare kind of compatibility, a meeting of two seasoned individuals who knew what they wanted from life and love. When Common spoke about Jennifer publicly, he didn't focus solely on her talent. He praised her character, her faith, and her humility. It was as if he had found someone who ticked every box on his internal checklist. And when asked about marriage, he didn't dodge. He didn't equivocate. He was unequivocal. If he were to marry anyone, it would be Jennifer Hudson. Those words carried weight. They sounded like certainty, like security, and perhaps even like destiny. But certainty in words does not always translate to certainty in action. History has a subtle way of whispering truths before the loud chaos appears, while Jennifer entered the relationship believing she had found emotional safety. Tiffany Haddish observed from the sidelines. She didn't react quietly or neutrally. Her public commentary often seemed playful or sarcastic, but beneath the humor was a sharper, unresolved awareness. Tiffany hadn't just dated Common casually. She'd invested in him fully, imagining futures and hoping for intentional commitment. Yet, while Tiffany wanted stability and legacy, the effort she received felt minimal. Their breakup wasn't about the disappearance of love. It was about the fading of effort, emotional availability, and consistency. Tiffany dreamed forward while Common remained static. And when Jennifer arrived on the scene, Tiffany didn't celebrate, she watched, quietly, critically. At first, Tiffany's comments seemed harmless or random. But patterns soon emerged, subtle. Shade, perfectly timed remarks, moments where her awareness of details suggested she hadn't fully disengaged. And as rumors began swirling about Common being spotted with other women, Jennifer's demeanor started to shift, her calm and relaxed presence replaced by guarded smiles and restrained energy. Tiffany, meanwhile, didn't need to speak. Her expressions told the story. Looking at Common's romantic history, Jennifer's situation doesn't appear isolated. It's part of a larger, recurring pattern, relationships that begin with deep connection and promise, but end quietly, leaving emotional ambiguity in their wake. This is the story we will begin to unpack, one that traces patterns from past relationships to present circumstances, revealing a repeating cycle of words versus actions. Common's history is dotted with relationships that started with emotional intensity and promise, only to end with quiet exits and unresolved tension. Erykah Badu was one of the earliest examples. Their union felt cosmic. Two creative powerhouses, aligned spiritually and culturally, seemingly destined to create something extraordinary. Fans viewed them as soulmates, believing this relationship to be deeper than mere attraction. But when the relationship ended, the narrative he shared painted him as the wounded party. Erica, according to him, had ended things abruptly while he was on tour, leaving him heartbroken and blindsided. Yet subtle remarks from Erica years later hinted at a more complex reality. Trust issues, wandering attention, and a preference for the thrill of pursuit over the steadiness of commitment. Suddenly, the breakup no longer seemed random. It appeared to be part of a recurring formula. Common would enter relationships fully present, attentive, affectionate, emotionally expressive. He said all the right things and created the impression that his partner was chosen and valued. But when the relationship reached the stage requiring stability, consistency, and long-term planning, something would shift. The pattern repeated itself with Serena Williams, a woman whose discipline, confidence, and self-worth might have seemed capable of weathering emotional inconsistency. Even she eventually walked away. Citing lack of communication and emotional availability, Taraji P. Henson's relationship followed the same arc. A strong start, deep emotional connection, public admiration followed by distance. The endings were always quiet, respectful, and devoid of scandal, but the repetition told its own story. Angela Rye later confirmed this formula in her own words: misaligned long-term goals. A desire for family and intention met with inconsistent actions. Across these relationships, one thread remains clear. Words and promises were present, but actions didn't align with them. Each woman exited quietly, leaving behind the same unspoken conclusion. Common loved the idea of commitment more than the responsibility it entailed. Jennifer Hudson wasn't just another partner. She had survived profound personal tragedy, the loss of her mother, brother, and nephew in a single devastating moment. For Jennifer, stability wasn't a preference, it was a necessity. Emotional safety was essential. When Common presented himself as healed, intentional, and ready, she believed him. She trusted the man in front of her had done the inner work he claimed. Tiffany Haddish, however, watched with skepticism. Her past experience gave her insight into the subtle signs of inconsistency, gestures that seemed meaningful but lacked follow-through, tension that felt performative rather than present. Tiffany's public commentary over the years wasn't jealousy, was awareness. A breadcrumb trail indicating suspicions that had been brewing long before Jennifer entered the scene. Rumors began to swirl again. Common was seen with another woman. Jennifer's public energy shifted, smiles became tighter, her presence more guarded. Tiffany's reactions mirrored familiarity, knowing smirks, carefully timed remarks. The quiet validation that comes from recognizing a story she had already lived through. History whispers before it shouts. And Tiffany's reactions were that quiet acknowledgement that patterns repeat. Jennifer, meanwhile, was experiencing the reality of what Tiffany had already escaped. The slow unveiling of inconsistency, the subtle withdrawal, the gestures that no longer matched intentions.